It's now gone over 60,000. We started, I think, the show on about 48,000. It's now over 60,000 people who've signed a petition calling for Zouma to be prosecuted for animal cruelty, as West Ham Football Club is criticised by fans for allowing the player to actually get on the pitch last night against Watford.
Yeah, the fans booed him throughout the game after that video emerged of him kicking his cat across the floor and also hitting it. He, of course, has apologised. He says there's no excuses for his behaviour. But the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, told this programme this morning he should be prosecuted.
I think this footballer is a disgrace. I think the RSPCA and the police should be looking into a criminal prosecution. I think West Ham, as this player's employer and as a club that's loved by tens of thousands of fans across London and across the country, should be taking action. I think Mr. Zouma himself should reflect on what he's done.
Well, we've got three more people here to talk about it now. Joining us is football commentator Joel Bayer, the solicitor and owner of Advocates for Animals, Edie Bowles, and West Ham's season ticket holder and columnist and broadcaster Dawn Neeson. Dawn, I'll start with you. I know you were shocked when you heard that this guy was going to be played by his team last night. Would you agree with me that it was basically the club sticking two fingers up at everybody, their own supporters, everybody in the country, and saying, whatever we might say about taking this seriously, actually, because we're playing him tonight, we couldn't give a stuff. We don't care.
I think there was a lot of hypocrisy involved, and I was, as I said, Richard, I was absolutely stunned when he was selected. I just thought, at the very least, don't play him tonight. I mean, I get the club might be in a position where we didn't have anyone else to play, but, I mean, that's still no excuse. I mean, you know, you can't watch that video and not be stunned by the behaviour, and especially the fact there was a child involved. I mean, the fact there was a child involved, what message is that giving to that little boy in that video?
There's an image of the cat being hit
out
in
of
front of the child.
Susanna, I thought it was... Just, and as Lorraine was saying earlier on, I just can't believe that they thought this was obviously some kind of joke. There were laughing emojis on it, and they put it out on social media. You know, there is absolutely no defence for
You're
this.
a West Ham fan,
I am
Dawn,
a West Ham fan.
And David Moyes, your manager, said last night, effectively, I wanted to win the game. I mean, those weren't his exact words, but that's what it was about. You know, that this is a separate thing that's being investigated, what happened on that video to that cat. But ultimately, as a football manager, his job is to get the points.
Well, I can see that point. That is his job, and if he was strictly doing his job. But, I mean, I do think the message was profoundly wrong there to send out to the fans and to the players and to Kurt. I mean, Kurt...
To the public and to the wider public.
Absolutely, to the wider public. I mean, Kurt has apologised, and I think, you know, the best thing that can happen now, yes, it needs to be investigated and probably a prosecution. However, I think the best thing he can do now is to start donating his wages to an animal charity and go and do some work for an animal charity to see what it is like for abused animals.
You say he's apologised, and he has apologised, and that's on the record, but, you know, he didn't apologise until this thing leaked, until his brother put it on the internet, and then everybody was in uproar, and that's when he apologised. He didn't wake up the next morning and think, oh, I shouldn't have done that. He only apologised because he got caught. Joel Bayer, as a football commentator, were you astonished to see him playing last night?
4 S's. Shocking, selfish, stupid, sad. You know, I can't believe it. When I saw it, I thought, what's going on over here? And for me, it's more the intelligence. I was speaking to Dawn in the back, and I thought, does he not know he's being filmed? You know, I'm not saying it's OK to, you know, if it wasn't being filmed, but I just thought, you're a footballer, man. Come on, let's represent yourself a little bit better here. The only thing I can say is that I agree with Dawn. I think that he should be looking to educate himself when it comes to the animal sector, etc. Because I think some family members, they see an animal as part of their family, you know? My niece, she loves her cat. You know, my daughter loves my niece's cat as well. So it's like, they would be so sad if they saw their cat, Leia, being treated like that.
The other thing, Joel, is that footballers are held up, whether they like it or not, as role models.
Yeah.
And so when a footballer you love, you follow, you worship, acts like that towards an animal, you do not want that to be given out as a message to people that it's OK to do that.
Definitely not. You have people that are very impressionable as well. You don't want young kids, teenagers to think,
oh, things on social media, don't they?
Exactly. So for me, I just think he definitely needs to be educated on.
Well, in terms of the punishment, we'll come on to what might happen to him in terms of a prosecution in just 1 second.
Yeah.
But in terms of the football, do you think that he should be suspended?
I don't. I'm surprised he played yesterday. That's for sure.
But do you think he should be suspended?
I think there should be some sort of suspension. I think he needs to learn, you know, get himself educated. I don't think he should lose his job, if I'm honest. But I just think education is key.
And this point about David Moyes, you know, ultimately, he's a Premier League manager who doesn't want to drop points in a really important game.
Exactly.
But is it that... Was Zouma critical to last night's game?
Well, he is.
Is that a justification?
I mean, you have to look at the position of the club. They're going for top four. They're trying to beat United, you know, Arsenal, everyone else involved. So for them, this could be it. So he's thinking more about the football and next season, let's be honest.
All right,
you know?
well, let's come to Edie now. Edie Bowles, you're a solicitor, you're the owner of the Advocates for Animals. Let's talk about the legals. What are the options here?
So I'm really sorry, but I don't want to go into the specifics just for fear of, you know, jeopardising an investigation or a prosecution. So we have to be very careful about talking about...
He hasn't been charged with anything.
Yeah, I understand, but the RSPCA, I imagine, are working very hard behind the scenes to make sure that they gather, you know, the right evidence. But I will say, you know, I can say that any, you know, animal cruelty should always be investigated. And where there is evidence of wrongdoing, you know, charges should be brought. You know, it's not OK for someone to be above the law, you know, whether they're a millionaire, famous millionaire or not.
Yeah. If somebody's behaved like this to an animal, I think what a lot of people don't understand is why that animal isn't immediately removed from a property, from a home. Does that happen regularly?
So it can happen. There are powers to do that, and, you know, you're preaching to the converted here. I absolutely think if an animal is in danger, that animal should be taken away as a priority, and that's what, you know, we'd hope to see in the coming days.
Are you surprised? I must say, I'm a bit surprised that the RSPCA seems to be a bit slow off the back foot on this. We couldn't really get them to make a comment yesterday at all. They seem to be sort of a bit baffled by what was happening. And we still don't really know what they're going to do. We're assuming they're going to launch a prosecution, but we don't know that. Are you surprised by that?
Well, like I said, it's really difficult to say what's going on behind the scenes because, you know, they do have, you know, strict processes that they need to follow. You know, me personally, I want to see, wherever there's animal cruelty, I want to see action brought, and I hope that what is going on behind the scenes is obviously to that effect.
Don't you agree that they should, you know, if you see the whole... We can't show the whole video, but I was watching it, yes, it's horrible. If you look at that as somebody who's interested in animal rights and you're in the RSPCA, surely you'd want a court order to get round to the house now to take those cats out of the danger zone.
Absolutely. So you know, we do not know what's going on in this case, but let me just say, Advocates for Animals, the law firm that I work for, we are constantly inundated with animal cruelty, you know, with evidence of animal cruelty from our clients.
And what are the penalties if somebody is prosecuted?
So the law changed recently, so there's a maximum penalty now for certain cruelty offences for up to 5 years, obviously reserved to the most serious of crimes, but there are, you know, there are several penalties at the judge's discretion.
And we can't even begin to get into the psychological question of what makes people do things like this. Yeah. It's utterly baffling to the rest of us.
Thank you all very much indeed.